Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Buds and Blue Jays. I'm your host, Jesse Burrell, and I am joined as always by my co-host, Riley McConnell. Riley, what's up? How's it going?
Oh, it's going well, man. I still feel good about this team. I feel good about myself too. It's baseball night, got some softball tonight. And I mean, I don't want to give away too many of my secrets, but do you know how I prepare for mixed league softball?
Let's hear it. How'd it be?
All right, let's go.
You're preparing for the beer inning already. I love it.
That's right.
You know, Riley, I was able to watch these first two games of the series and things were going really well. You know, we got back-to-back shutouts in game one and game two. Stripling did his thing. Alek Manoah was doing his thing. The bullpen looked pretty good. So I thought I was in the clear to take the afternoon off. I figured Yusei Kikuchi is going to keep this game rolling. Things are going to be great. So I went to the golf course this afternoon and boy, was I wrong. Things kind of fell apart in game three here today. So if you want to blame somebody for Kikuchi's poor start, you can blame me.
Well, what'd you shoot? What's your handicap?
Oh, I'd rather not admit that on air. It's not good. Let's get into the baseball game, shall we? Game one of the series, good. The Jays won 8-0. Ross Stripling got his first start in a month with 5 shutout innings. Julian Merriweather, Trevor Richards, Trent Thornton, and the Gage with the new prospect called up with 4 innings with only 1 walk, 1 hit, and 4 strikeouts. We had opposite field home runs from Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Santiago Espinal in this one. Game 2, the Blue Jays pitched another shutout, this time 7-0. Alek Manoah gave up 9 base runners, but none of them scored. He was able to work out a damage. And hitless relief from Jordan Romano, Jimmy Garcia, and David Phelps. 4 hits in this one from Alejandro Kirk and another 3 from Santiago Espinal. So that's great to see. And game 3, the one that happened on YouTube this afternoon, the Jays shutout streak ended at 19 innings as the Royals won this one 8-4. Yusei Kikuchi only got 2 outs, gave up 2 hits and 3 walks in this one. Yikes. Zach Collins freshly called up and Raimel Tapia went deep in this one. So after the series, the Jays did win it. They got up to 33-23. We're 7.5 games back in the AL East behind the Yankees and still in the top wild card position. So not too bad. Kind of taking care of business against the Royals.
Honestly, Jesse, you do have to feel good about this. I mean, 8 runs and 7 runs. That's what we're talking about. I mean, I'm kind of greedy with, we got to get double-digit runs. But 8 and 7 runs is just as good, man. Mm-hmm. We had plentiful offense. And today, let's just say, it wasn't the Yusei Kikuchi. I think the last time I talked about Yusei Kikuchi, I was pretty high up on him. So he was almost due for a bad start. We're certainly not using him as our ace. Right. But I imagine he's going to bounce back. This is a 0 out of 10 from a 1 to 10 scale on concern. I'm sure that, it's just a bad start. He got hit around by a bad team. You know what? That happens, man. Yeah,
we will touch more on Yusei Kikuchi when we get to our thumbs up, thumbs down here. But let's start on a good vibe. We're feeling good. The Blue Jays got another series win. Let's go into all things good right now. And Riley, do you want to take the first one? Who gets you our first thumbs up of the day?
Oh, man. I mean, all things good. Let's talk about a guy who has done nothing wrong in, the last few weeks, let's say. That's Alejandro Kirk, man. I mean, this guy just is – we gave him crap early because he wasn't hitting it out of the park. Yeah. Then he hit it out of the park. And or oh, my God, not complaining about that. And then if you throw in a game where he gets 4 singles – I'm totally okay with that. His defense is still fine. He's catching specific pitchers. It seems like the way that Montoya is using him, which I'm fine with. We've seen a lot of the Jays do that with back when it was Navarro and Russell when he caught Burley, things like that. I like that use of a tandem. But yeah, as far as Kirk's plate appearances go, there's not a hotter bat in the American League right now. And I will make that, even with Judge out there hitting the numbers he has, Kirk has been just so good.
Yeah, Alejandro Kirk didn't even play in game 3 of this series, and he still was on base 6 times. He had a 4-hit game in game 2 of this series, and I was really rooting for him in that final at-bat there. Try to go 5 for 5. Let's go. Who was the last Blue Jays catcher to go 5 for 5? Can you even guess? Has a Blue Jays catcher even done that? I don't even know. I mean,
I think maybe Ernie Witt had, maybe 2 hits and 2 walks in a game.
Yeah.
But nothing like what Kirk's doing, man. I mean, he has the offensive mindset. I mean, he goes up to the plate, and I really feel like, there's no way this guy's striking out. He's going to make contact. He's going to stay in there. He's going to be a pesky bat. And if he makes poor contact, he might just loft it over the second baseman's head. He is a guy you want up to the plate. I would actually, love to see him bat higher in this batting order.
Yes, so would I.
To get up for these guys, and I know that's not the traditional thing to have a guy like Kirk batting there, but honestly, he's earned a spot, man.
Yeah, not only has Alejandro Kirk been on a tear and is more than likely going to be an all-star this year behind the plate, which is quite great. He's got a real shot, too, of winning American League Player of the Week with how much he's been playing. So I'd kind of throw it on a bone. I think he might actually win that award, which would be quite good. Not only that, though, like we talked about how Kirk wasn't like pulling the ball for much power, and he is now. He also leads this team in infield hits. So Alejandro Kirk, the guy with probably the lowest sprint speed on this team, is still beating out all these singles and stuff to get through. So thumbs up to you, Alejandro Kirk. Love to see it. And yeah, I want you in the lineup more and more and more and more.
Who's your guy, Jesse? I mean, I got Kirk. You got a plentiful group of guys to choose from. We did score 15 runs in the first two games. Any takeaways from that?
So you know who else has really been turning it around a lot lately?
Who's that, Jesse?
Your third baseman, Matt Chapman. Now, he's only got one home run over the last 3 weeks, but over the last 3 weeks, he's hitting over 300. His WRC plus is over 134, and he's only chasing at 19% of the pitches, so 19% chase rate. The bat is really coming around from Matt Chapman. And we've talked on episodes before how he's got a career high hard hit rate, and the ball just keeps kind of soaring off his bat, how many times he's flown out to the warning track so far this year, season 2. Like, I know we've been really high on Matt Chapman on this show specifically, especially coming into the year, but there are real signs here that bat is coming around and that Matt Chapman is going to soar, and he's due for a second, like a huge second half here. Like, I'm pretty sure I already told you to make sure you buy him in your fantasy league, and I double down, keep doing it. Matt Chapman is going to get on a heater here very soon.
I mean, it might be more my fault than anything, Jesse, that we do discuss a lot of Matt Chapman. Yep. You know, that's mainly, and we got him. I was hyped. Yes, he did not perform in the first month of the year. I will admit that. The numbers now look amazing. If you just do a little snippet to, divide those numbers. Yeah, Matt Chapman looks really good up there, man. The hard hit ball rate. I mean, if you take in consideration, if you actually watch the games to see what his at-bats are, he really is swinging for the fences, man, but he's not chasing those. Matt Chapman is a Blue Jay who takes his walks. Yes. It seems more often than not that if anyone's got a walk in a game, if anyone's taking a pitch, it's Matt Chapman, and I love that about him.
Yeah.
And he's a smart hitter, but he's a power hitter in a way. Like, he's gonna strike out. That's something that happens. Also, again, why he's on this team, why he's a third baseman, why he is a platinum glove winner, which is back-to-back gold gloves, is because of his defense. He is one of the biggest defensive plus in all of baseball in any infield position, man. Like, to have him playing third base for us with the pitchers we have, and he's done so good, man. Yes, he has made a couple errors. I think they were in consecutive games almost.
Against the Rays.
Yeah, other than that, like, he's so good defensively, man. And the power is just an excellent plus. Just fits in so well with this organization.
Yeah, you look at Matt Chapman's defensive numbers now, they have taken a step back a little bit. So he's not best in baseball anymore, but he's still very, very, very good. And they put up a stat on the broadcast today that Matt Chapman's arm strength going from third base is the fastest in baseball for Major League third baseman. So he gets that ball across the diamond quicker than anybody else. So I don't think we're too worried, even though the numbers have gone down a little bit. Matt Chapman's still very good on defense. He still adds a lot to his value. So again, thumbs up to you, Mr. Matt Chapman. Love to see that. Riley, another thumbs up. Like you said, you scored 15 runs. Who's getting it this time?
I mean, you got to give it to a guy who maybe didn't perform like the guys we were just talking about, but I mean, it's still, I want to talk about Santiago Espinal. This is a guy who, was a late addition in last year's team, never really an MLB experienced guy, has really earned a spot with this team, and he is truly an X factor. When he plays well, it seems that we are winning ball games. I know it was last year, it was when George Springer was in the lineup, and yes, that's for sure. George Springer is a great hitter, he's a great defender, but it just seems like when Espinal's in the lineup, he's getting hits or he's making a good defensive play. For a guy of his pedigree, his caliber, it's amazing, dude. This guy is for sure, like, he's got to be an all-star this year. He's has a home run. He has a home run, multiple hits in the series. I think he had 4. I don't know the number right off the top, but you can expect that every series, man. Like, you just know, like, I don't know about you, Jesse, but there are certain guys, obviously you feel good when Vlad's coming up. Now you're feeling good when Kirk's coming up. And I feel the same when Espinal's coming up. Like, he might not do it like a 4-hit game like Kirk, but he is doing it at a very consistent level throughout this year. Yeah, and it's good to see some power too. He's now got 5 home runs on the year, which he had 2 all of last year, right? And like, we're still in the early weeks of June here. And when Isaac was on the show last week, he talked about how Espinal just really feels like he's been the team MVP right now. I know Joe Sill said
said Ross Stripling is the team MVP so far, but I would really go out on a bone and say Santiago Espinal is their team MVP. He just strengthened his lineup. I don't know if the ceiling is incredibly high. Like, we're not getting a 40 home run season out of him. You know, he may not hit 330 or whatever, but he's going to provide you with what? A 280 batting average. He'll hit you 15, 20 home runs. Like, he is not a down in this lineup, and he's been a key. And in fact, like you said, he is tied with Alejandro Kirk for the team lead in Fangraphs WAR right now. So hell of a season for you, Santiago Espinal. Love to see it.
You know what? I'll take a little bit of my MLB fan base and I'll take away from Toronto for a second and just step into the world of MLB. Do you know who Espinal would fit really well with based on his stats, his parentheses, everything like that?
I'm all ears. Tell me.
Oakland Athletics, man. That guy is just a plus player. He doesn't cost us a lot of money, but he gets us wins, dude.
We have to get you Oakland Athletics jersey here, man. Like, come on.
Get me Eric Chavez, extra large.
There you go. That'll work. From the positives to the negatives, we did touch on it earlier. We did want to talk more about Yusei Kikuchi here. Now, this is what your life is going to be with a fifth starter, right? He kind of struggled early in the year. He put on some good real stretches there, including a one-hit game against his old team, the Seattle Mariners. And then he comes in here. The Jays are kind of rolling. We're expecting big things. And after striking out the first batter of the game, Yusei Kikuchi goes walk, double, walk, single, and he's out of the game before you know it. Only getting the 2 outs, both via strikeouts. So I don't know. I don't know what to make about Yusei Kikuchi. This is kind of what you're going to get. There was a quote from Charlie Montoyo after the game that just said he was disappointed with how he performed here today, and you can really blame him. All I want to say though is my Yusei Kikuchi jersey just came in, and if this is the first start that's going to happen after I get a Yusei Kikuchi jersey, yikes. Maybe I'll wear it on the episode next time or for his next start to hope it turns it around here for him.
I hope so, man, because I wouldn't burn something that costs over $25, and I'm sure that cost you a bit more than $25. Yeah. And see, I bought my Chapman jersey, which is the shirt jersey, and now he's playing exceptional. So yeah, he'll pick it up, dude. Honestly, yeah. Pitching is weird. You and I never pitched, really. You're bound to have a bad start. And maybe this was it. You get hit around by a bad team. It just sucks that he didn't get out of the first. I really hate that for him. It's tough, dude. That must mess with your mojo, must mess with your morale. But when he walked 4 batters. In his workload, which was very small, and that should never happen. I mean, he knows how he'll know how to bounce back and retool from this. It's just like, what your dads used to say, or my dad used to say, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
There you go. Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I will point out when Kikuchi was rolling and he had those good starts, the walk rate was still quite high. I think he had at least 2 walks in every game, except for maybe there was one he had no walks, maybe one he had 1, but the walks were still quite elevated, so it was tough to see. And you got to think Kansas City was just due for some positive regression after being shut out the first 2 games. So Kikuchi unfortunately had to take the brunt of that. And another guy who had to take the brunt of that game was our middle relief pitcher, Trevor Richards. We haven't really talked about him a lot so far this season. In 24 innings pitched this year, he has a 4.88 ERA, but his FIP is much higher. It's in the 5.6 range, and a career high walk rate for Trevor Richards so far. And plus, in only his 24 innings, he's given up 6 home runs, which seems like a lot. Now, I will say, last year when we acquired Trevor Richards, him and Adam Simber were part of the duo that really stabilized the bullpen for this team. So the bullpen really turned around once Trevor Richards got here. So I don't want to give him too much slack, but he's very much on like the back end of this bullpen now. And like, I don't think he's going to get much time in high leverage unless like Montoyo's really due for bullpen arms here. And I don't know if he continues to pitch like this. Are we certain that Trevor Richards is a lock to be on the bullpen on this team?
No, not a chance, man. When you had Mark Gage come up and pitch some quality innings for us, and you got Merriweather back, who looks okay. And I know you were worried about Julian Merriweather, but he's starting to look a bit better. And I don't think Garcia's going anywhere. So then there's some right-handed arms. So then where do you put Trevor Richards from there? I mean, it's hurting us to have him right now and using him in these situations, which I mean, I consider to be like not high leverage. I mean, he was used as a mop-up role, and he was just mopping with mud and really tarnished the game from there, right? And it's hard to see, but I mean, I don't think we waiver him too early. I think it will take one more bad outing for that to happen, because trust me, there's a lot of hungry, ready and waiting pitchers for this team, man. And we're chock full of bullpen arms down in AAA. There's no question about that. that could, easily take Richards' role. We need the last year's version where he was, our first middle relief guy, where he would take the 7th, or in a non-save situation, the 8th. Like, that's something we need him for.
Yeah, I think Richards is still going to get an extended run, probably for at least a few more weeks, even if he is still pitching bad, because his main competition is what? Trent Thornton right now, Thomas Hatch down in Buffalo. We don't have Kirby Snead down there anymore. So I haven't really looked at the Bison stats in a while. I don't know if there is a reliever that's really knocking down the door, but unless we acquire someone at the trade deadline, maybe that'll be the move. We get Trevor Richards off this roster. But until then, I think his spot's safe. We just kind of need him to pitch better, honestly.
And it will or it won't happen, Jesse. That's pitching. That's relief pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
You got 1 year you could have a 2.82 ERA. The next year you could have a 5.82 ERA. It's weird the way baseball works, man.
No, absolutely. We got another thumbs down here. Now this kind of ties into our news and notes. We got to talk about Danny Jansen, who's now on the IL, and Zach Collins was called up in his place, and Nate Pearson was transferred to the 60-day IL in his absence. But we just want to talk about how much this kind of sucks for Danny Jansen. Yeah. We've talked about the season he has been having and how his power has been real and how he's been pulling the ball in the air with a career high fly ball rate. But man, this sucks. When he first got injured there, he got hit by a pitch, I believe it was, in the hand. Mm-hmm. And, it didn't seem like it was anything that bad, but they took it for x-rays just in case. And he's got an injury on his pinky finger, of all places, for goodness sake. So trip to the 10-day IL for Danny Jansen. I hope it's not that long. I hope it's just a minimum 10 days, and then he'll be back on the field here. But this kind of sucks. In the meantime, they didn't call up Gabriel Moreno, which I'm sure we can touch on if you'd like, but Alejandro Kirk's only going to catch, 2 days a week, and the rest is going to go to Zach Collins again. So,
Jesse, remember when I said that there should be no trades for our catchers? And now there's a situation. So now I'll tell you what, Jesse, because I don't like rushing prospects, especially ones of the caliber of Moreno. There's no question about that. I don't want to pollute a player by roughing him up for him hitting 126 in, a stint where he feels like he has no confidence at the plate, and then send it back down to AAA and his stats diminish by even more so if he's hitting 370 and then he goes back down to 320. That's a 50-point average margin. Yeah. I like Gabby down there for now, but if there's a chance to call him up, I take that chance for now, because we're fighting for a wild card as of right now. Obviously, we're 1/3 through the year. We're second in our division. We're fighting with a tough Yankees team right now. Mm-hmm. The wild card spot is on our plate right now. Like that's our entree. We're still looking for dessert, which is the pennant for the East. And you know what? If Moreno can get us there, then by all means, give him his cup of coffee and bring him up if that's what it takes. Because if Jansen's going to be out more than 2 weeks, then I say bring him up.
Yeah, my thought process on Gabriel Moreno was, I think the Blue Jays are waiting to have him have a real opportunity to catch and to stay behind the plate and to really go. And I thought this was the perfect time because, like we said, Kirk's only going to catch 2 days a week, maybe, right? And they could really throw Gabriel Moreno behind the plate for the rest of it. But maybe they just want to see more from him in Buffalo. Maybe they're concerned that he only has 1 home run for the Bison, so maybe they want to see more of that. I want to give you the quote that Ross Atkins said about Gabriel Moreno when he was asked about this. He says, quote, "Gabriel has been awesome. He's continued to improve. He's in a really good spot, and he's very much in the mix for us." So is that just general manager mumbo jumbo, or do you think they really thought about bringing Gabriel Moreno up here and just decided it wasn't time? Or what's your take on that?
I don't like the word when you throw in the mix. Like if I'm to say like, "Hey Jesse, I'm gonna take some buddies to a baseball game." You're in the mix though.
Yeah, it means you're like not
that.
Coming.
It's an empty. It's an empty promise for me, which I think is kind of silly because you're dealing with one of the best prospects in all of baseball. Empty promises is a little bit BS for me. Don't play with this kid because he's going to be the real deal. If they want to work him out at the plate, get his power numbers up, then sure, then say that. Or if you want to get his defense a little bit better, sure, then say that. Don't tiptoe through the tulips there, Atkinson. Say what's on your mind. I hate I hate front offices for doing stuff like that. I'm a player's guy. I'm a manager's guy. I don't like the tiptoe, and I like our front office a lot, probably more so than I have in years past.
Yeah, you wouldn't be alone on that. We're going to run through the rest of this pretty quickly here. Some other news and notes. We mentioned Danny Jansen was placed on the IL. Hyunjin Ryu is meeting with, he still has forearm tightness. He's meeting with a new doctor. The Blue Jays are, quote, optimistic there is nothing terribly significant, but they have found some, quote, chronic changes to the elbows, which does not sound great, especially for a left-hander who's battled injuries in the past, that you're dealing with elbow issues. That screams Tommy John to me. So I'm worried about Hyunjin Ryu and his future here with the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll give you updates as we go. Matt Gage, as we says, was called up and actually looked pretty good. We could even give a little mini thumbs up to Matt Gage. He struck out 2 in his first inning and he got into the game today and he didn't give up another run. So good stuff. It looks like he, as a lefty, especially after DFAing Ryan Barucki, might actually stay in this bullpen. So good to see that there from Gage. And the Blue Jays had a rep at Trevor Rosenthal's showcase. You remember Trevor Rosenthal, who's pitched in the big leagues for quite a while? His fastball set 96. His slider was about 83, 84, and his changeup was about 84 through 86. Do you have any interest in Trevor Rosenthal? Do you think the Jays should add this guy into their bullpen?
What? The 2022 season, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I can get Rosenthal in like 2011 to 2013, I'm all for it. But I mean, he's got to be close to 40, if not 40 already. I don't know if you got an age on him. I'm just guessing. Listen, he was a great closer for, and I'm going to say many years, because if you're a closer for 5 years for a team and your name isn't Mariano Rivera, that's many years for a closer. You know, good for him. But let's just deal with young guys who we can get. I'm not going to say I prefer a Thomas Hatch. If Rosenthal can get to that point where we're confident in him, then by all means, but I don't buy it right now. I definitely don't buy it right now.
And we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. We don't have to worry about that for now. Riley, since May 26th, I just want to give you the Blue Jays a bunch of hitting categories and where they rank in Major League Baseball since May 26th. It's an arbitrary date, I know, but it's kind of fun.
Because they're good stats, I bet. Yeah,
damn right.
Lay them on me.
The Jays' 105 hits is 5th in baseball. They have 71 runs, which is 2nd in baseball. Their 19 home runs is 1st. They have an 11% walk percentage, which is 1st. You know what, Riley? Spoiler alert. Everything else I'm about to read, they're the best in baseball in.
Then give me those numbers.
Perfect. 298 batting average, 380 OBP, 548 slugging, 982 OPS, a 400 WOBA, and 164 WRC+. Jays are best in baseball in all of that. So since May 26th, the Blue Jays offense have been the best in baseball. And oh, by the way, we just threw back-to-back shutouts this series. So the pitching is there too. All things go for this Toronto Blue Jays team. And I'm excited to see what we got there.
And a winner of bragging rights, because we don't have anything to offer as we have no sponsorship on this channel. Mm-hmm. But if you could tell us, because I spent a half an hour on Baseball Reference, when the last time, obviously the last time, not this time, where the Blue Jays had 2 consecutive shutouts, I would love to hear it. I looked forever and I was thinking, oh, it could be this year. It could be this year. Nope. Couldn't find it anywhere. I'm obviously not a good Google searcher or Baseball Reference searcher, which is fine. I'll let my imagination run wild, but if anyone else out there knows, please let us know.
Yeah, perfect. So, Riley, you had something for me, I guess, here, eh?
Yeah, well, we had Bassy on the show. Bassy's great. Love the guy. You know, Leafs and Lads are on the off season. You know, like and subscribe. You know, come the next year, maybe they'll do an entry draft thing. Who knows? No, Jesse, I took something into consideration, man. That was he totally was right. You ask all the damn questions around here. I want to ask you a question.
I'm all ears. Let's go.
I want to be the quiz master. I'm going to give you what I consider to be an easy, a medium, and a hard question. Mm-hmm. Do you think you can do with that? I'll tell you the answers and I'll give our folks at home, 5 seconds to think about their answer. But I do want to on air do this because I want to see your reaction to this, Jesse.
Perfect. Let's hammer it through quickly. Let's see what we can do.
Okay. How many career losses at the MLB level does Alek Manoah have?
Oh, not a lot. He came up last year. I think he went pretty good. I know he's only got 1 this year. I'm going to say 5.
The answer is 3.
Ooh,
3 losses. Year, right? He was 9-2 last year, man.
Now that you say that makes sense.
He has a career record of 16-3, which is excellent.
After looking that up last year, he had 3 bad starts last year. 1 against Miami, 1 against Washington, and 1 against
and he gets the run, and he gets the run support too. So Alek Manoah 16-3 lifetime, which is Wow, you talk about a good start to a career.
All right, give me another one.
Who was the first Blue Jay to hit for the cycle? Bonus points if you could name the year or the team that it was against.
Wasn't it Lloyd Mosby? And I want to say 86 against Cleveland, if that's correct.
Wow, that's really specific, and I love your effort. Giving the people at home a chance? No. It was Kelly Gruber in 1989 against the Kansas City Royals, which inspired me to do this quiz. All right. This is the hardest one. If you know this, then you're a Jays maniac. You really are. I didn't know this until today. If you know it, Jesse, this is my hard question for you.
Yep, I'm all ears.
Who is the only Jays player to have 6 hits in a ball game? Bonus points if you guess the year.
It was
the team.
It was Frank Catalinato, and it was against the Texas Rangers, and I want to say it was 2009.
Wow! Oh, you were so right with Frank Catalinato, man. But there's no way Frank Catalinato played in 2009.
No, you're right. No,
man, Frankie's
2006 maybe.
2004. Frankie C probably retired. I don't even know where he went after Toronto. I just liked him. He was Reed Johnson's predecessor there.
Yeah.
No, it was May 1st of 2004 against the White Sox. So
it wasn't Texas, eh?
And 6 hits in a ball game for Frank Catalano. Just thought I'd throw that stat out there because guys who are forgotten Jays players that were kind of role guys love that. What inspired me to do this was though reading that Kelly Gruber had hit for the cycle against the KC Royals. So I just want to, throw a little bit of shade for that loss today.
Riley, I love that. I love that little trivia segment. The Blue Jays now, after their series win against the Kansas City Royals, will move on to the Detroit Tigers, who have the league's worst offense. So we thought it was good the Jays shut out Kansas City twice. They get a worse offensive team here now against the Detroit Tigers. Game 1's going to be Elvin Rodriguez, who I can safely say I don't think I've ever heard of, against Jose Barrios. So it'll be good to see how Jose Barrios bounces back, or how he performs, after his 13 strikeout effort last start. Bo Brisky against Kevin Gausman in Game 2. Now we have a lot to watch for Kevin Gausman. Is he hiding that splitter? How's that pitch mix look? And Game 3 will be Terry Skubal against Ross Stripling. So, Riley, what are you looking forward to in this series?
Well, I think before the program, we said to each other that this is a series that we can score an awful lot of runs in. And we said the same thing about the Royals series. And honestly, Detroit's not a strong team. The AL Central is, I think I've said this, like obviously we didn't have a podcast in 2010, but I've always said that the AL Central is one of the weakest divisions in baseball. It just historically has been. I mean, I don't have the stats to back it up, but I feel like watching games, the AL Central is not one of the stronger divisions of all the 6 in MLB. It's another series where, we could possibly have a repeat. 8-1, 6-2, and then lose a game 7-5, something like that, because one of the starter could be bounced, because Akil Baddoo hits, a bases clearing triple in the bottom of the 7th or something like that. Baseball's a funny sport that way, man. And we're at the time of the year where averages start to come in play, where I could literally watch and say, okay, Bo Bichette's due for a walk. He walks because things are bound to happen at this point. Where just past a week in June, and now your numbers are going to get kind of close by. These are what you can look at guys' numbers and kind of tell what they're going to hit for the season, unless there's a big, inflation. But you can.
Yeah, I'd say kind of 2 out of 3, probably, right? 2 out of 3 for the Jays against the Tigers.
2 out of 3. We lose a close one, but we kill them for 2 games, I think.
All right, well, that'll do it for our episode here today. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure not only do you like and subscribe to us on YouTube, but we are on Spotify now. So make sure you give us a download, give us a 5-star rating on there. Make sure you follow us there, give us some downloads and stuff. We want to shout out the guy from Brussels, Belgium, who's been following all our show. We see you, man. We've got our roots across the globe. So people love Buds and Blue Jays no matter where you are. So we love to see that. And Riley, anything else to add before we get out of here today?
Yeah, Toblerone, I think, is Belgium.
Yes, it is.
Also, thanks a lot, guys. I got to go hit a dinger in softball. If I don't, that's okay, because I probably just flew out to the warning track.
Excellent. Well, we'll get an update from you next week. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.